welcome to this episode of Sunday Driver. So I was looking through Instagram about a week ago and I came across a very, very wild car, and Lucas was kind enough to bring it out for me. Lucas, I have so many questions about this car.
A lot of people have questions.
I have so many. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so let's start when you got this car. Yeah, I know it didn't look like this.
Not quite. So I can't just say that I got the car, it's we got the car. Me and a buddy are both in on this thing.
There you go.
50-50. He's just not here right now.
Okay.
But we got the car about a little over 2 years ago now. And when we got it, it was a perfectly respectable little Boxster.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it. It had 150,000 miles. The previous owner had just replaced the soft top on it because I guess the old one, someone slashed it.
Oh man.
It literally was on there for about 2 months. The paint was not in perfect condition. It was a bit oxidized, but no real scratches. He really took care of the car.
Right.
Then the morning after we bought it, we took off the top and started gutting the interior.
Yep.
By the end of the first day, it was about 300 pounds lighter.
There you go. Okay.
And from there, it's just kind of spiraled.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's not quite factory.
So what was when you first got it, like, what was the goal of this car? What were you trying to do with it?
So the car itself didn't have a goal. Me and my buddy wanted to get into racing, just do some autocross, track days, light type of stuff.
Yeah.
And we wanted a car that was relatively cheap to do it. So originally we thought we were just going to spend like $500 or something, get a crappy old Miata, but lo and behold, Miatas are really popular and getting expensive.
Yep. Yeah, they are.
Who would have known that you can get a Porsche Boxster for around the same price as a Miata?
And it has it says Porsche on it.
It does say Porsche. Now it
prestigious.
doesn't have pop-up headlights. I have to give that point to the Miatas. But,
True,
I mean,
true.
You do get to say you have a Porsche, and when we bought the car, it was like right around $3,000. So we're like, oh,
Really? $3,000?
yeah, $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
He did buy it from a coworker, so.
Did you buy it? Was that local?
Yeah. He's active duty Navy.
Okay.
And, he was one of the guys on a ship that was selling it.
That's hilarious. So, all right.
Yeah.
So you got it to be a cheap car. Go have some fun.
Yeah, it was a cheap car to beat up around the track, have some fun. We figured that, you could take, I mean, obviously you could buy like a little pickup truck for cheap and beat that around the track too, but when you have something like this, it actually has the potential to be kind of quick.
Yeah.
And the more we started using it, the more we realized just how quick and how much potential the car actually had.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's where then, one part,
Yep.
next part, then full suspension.
So you were on track, and then something went pop. Okay, then what happened?
Which pop are we talking about? There are many pops in this car.
This one specifically would be the Porsche Flat 6.
The engine, yeah. So if we actually go around to the hood here, we could check on the dates. There's a history of the car,
and this is so cool.
This is actually, so I wasn't initially keeping track of everything we were doing.
Okay.
Like by the time I wrote all this on the hood, I was already about halfway through the engine swap.
Okay.
But my buddy had suggested, like, hey, why don't we just write all this stuff down? I'm sure it'd be cool. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went back through the Instagram, everything.
Yeah.
And started writing down all the dates when every part we got, everything. We started adding that into this kind of mural, and I've been surprised that every car show I take it to, the amount of people that'll just stand around the front of the car and
just read the whole thing.
List.
That's so cool.
I didn't think it would be that popular, but people seem to love it.
Yeah.
And it's great. But you were asking about engine blow. So
yeah.
Engine blew October 11th
of 2019. Okay.
So this is right before the Rona hit.
Yeah.
Now at that point, the car even wrote down the mileage.
There you go.
4,000 miles. And the stock engine in this is a base Boxster, so this was the 2.7 liter.
Okay, got it.
Which is why you start understanding why we're looking into engine swaps. So even before the engine blew, we were kind of talking about engine swaps, tossing ideas around.
Right.
Something to put in.
Because Porsche horsepower is really expensive.
It is very expensive. So the stock engine was in here, the 2.7 at the wheels did 198.
Okay.
And it had a pretty decent torque curve. It wasn't like the most ideal thing, but
yeah,
definitely usable power.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that we wanted more.
Of course.
To start off with a 2.7, they're usually not worth building up because the N97, you got the 2.7, then in the Boxster S there's a 3.2, and the 911s there's 3.4.
Right.
And I think it goes all the way up to 3.6 and a 3.8.
Well, and the 4.0 for the GT3.
Yeah, but I think with the GT3s, I don't think they're the M97 engine anymore.
Oh, so it's the same block but more displacement.
Yeah, yeah. So
oh,
like,
okay, okay.
The block that you got in this and that same generation of 911, they're all the M97 engines. M97 or M96. Internet will correct me.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
but the Porsche people will know.
Yeah.
The Porsche people will know.
Chill out, Porsche people.
It's a labor of love and alcohol.
So,
Love of alcohol.
the engine goes pop.
Yeah, engine goes pop. October 19th. At that point, other ideas we had discussed. Obviously, LS swap. It is the smartest engine swap you can do. It's also the least interesting.
Right.
We discounted it immediately.
Right.
Besides that, popular with these Boxsters are Audi engines.
Oh.
I believe it's like a 3.6 or 3.8 V6 and a 4.2 V8. Both of them actually bolt straight up to the transmission out without needing any kind of adapter or anything. Because hey, they're all owned by Volkswagen.
Oh, okay.
They like using their same parts bin.
Yep.
So those are actually popular with these, which is again why we then threw the idea out. Why do something that had
not cool enough?
Yeah, we weren't necessarily looking for the smartest engine. We were looking for something more interesting.
Yeah.
All and behold comes YouTube, and I have to mention Hoovie.
Okay.
I love Hoovie's Garage.
Of course.
And he bought himself a Maserati Quattroporte and talked about how cheap the car was due to the transmission having problems.
Right.
Which, yeah, those early F1 transmissions were absolute garbage.
They were bad.
So curious me looks up, wonder how much the engine out of one of them costs, because he mentioned that it has a Ferrari engine.
Yeah.
Turns out these F136s are really cheap. Like a good condition one, probably about $5 to $6 grand.
Oh my gosh.
This middle of the pack engine cost us $3 grand. Cost as much as the car.
Oh my gosh.
And it is a genuine Ferrari F136S V8 from a 2006 Maserati Quattroporte.
Okay.
The reason we went with that one specifically because it was for that year, and I think there was 2 other years. They did a factory dry sump oil system.
Oh, really?
So
did that come with it?
Yep. I'll show it to you in a minute. But that was what initially made the flat 6 in this brake, which I think the M96s are very well known for.
That it did not have a dry sump?
Well, it's not a problem that they don't have a dry sump. There are wet sump systems that solve the issue, but what happens is that the inside bank on a turn during high G turns will usually lose oil. Oh. And no oil, hot engine, track conditions pop.
High RPM, yeah.
Dry sump oil systems, they solve that though because they keep oil everywhere.
Right.
They do it really, really well.
Right.
And this has that, from the factory. So be something we didn't have to worry about.
Got it.
So initially the goal was just have some weird engine that, no one would think of doing.
Right.
Turned out we actually found an engine that's really good for our application.
Oh my gosh. And it sounds the business, as we saw.
it sounds good. It goes prop.
I mean, I just love the contrast between like it being a Porsche and there's like spray paint and handwriting on it.
We did this with magazines.
With what?
We didn't even tape it. My buddy held a magazine and this was like day 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah.
But also the beers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we butchered this car real quick after we got it.
But I mean, you're having way more fun than I'll bet you 99% of Boxster owners are.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what they find fun is subjective, though. I don't know if I would consider sitting at home polishing this thing in the garage necessarily as fun as I find this.
Yeah, of course.
To each their own.
So I saw that you had the Haltech dash there.
Yes.
Is that for engine management or is it just for the dash?
So that's the dash, and the ECU we're running is a Haltech Elite 2500.
Can we see it?
You can try to see it.
Kind of hidden?
It's sitting
tucked under there? Yeah. Got it. It's pretty small.
Yeah, it's small and watertight. So this car has been in the rain like this. Didn't bother it any.
There you go. So is this a stock transmission for this car?
Yeah, so this is the 5-speed Boxster transmission. If this was the Boxster S, it would have come with a 6-speed.
Right.
Whether or not this engine or this transmission will survive,
I was gonna say, what are they rated for?
well, it's interesting. So if you have the 6 speeds out of the Boxster S, they're well known to handle like 600 plus horsepower.
Oh wow.
They're really popular with sand rails because it's a high horsepower transaxle that's not terribly expensive.
Got it.
In the grand scheme of things. 6 speeds usually around like 1,500, 2,500 depending on the condition.
Right.
Not terrible. Now the 5 speeds, pick them up for like $400 a pop.
Okay.
And depending on who you ask, people will tell you they can handle 250 horsepower or they can handle like 500. I know a guy named Rob Scott out in England. He rally crosses his with a twin turbo Audi V6 setup.
Sweet.
And he's pushing about 550 to the wheels.
Okay.
So more than I am, and he says the only problem he has is that if he's like in a corner going from dirt to pavement in second, he'll usually bust a second.
But at $400, you know,
$400 pop. That's the thing. Like,
that's
even
not terrible.
if this thing breaks in a year, do I want to spend the extra money to get the 6-speed? The 6-speed's a lot heavier than this one is,
right?
And then I'd have to redo the cables and all that. Like,
right.
No, it's like $400. Done. Call it a day.
So what about the exhaust setup? Because I mean, obviously this wasn't planned to be backwards in the back of a car.
The exhaust is surprisingly simple. So those are the factory headers on the from the Maserati engine.
But wrapped now.
Yeah, wrapped because at the time when we did the exhaust, we didn't have the electrical stuff in yet.
Got it.
And didn't know if wires were going to get too close to that, so wrapped it up just to be safe. In hindsight, wouldn't need to do that bit of work. From there, it just goes straight into 3-inch pipes for each side out the back, and then what are they? They're Borla XS Pros.
Oh, okay.
The Mustang guys are very familiar with them.
There you go. I just love.
Initially, I didn't do the mufflers on there. It just turned out that dual 3-inch straight pipes with no cats, no emission stuff whatsoever. Right.
Little
a bit loud,
little noisy,
a little noisy for California. Once I'm out of here, it'll be nice and noisy again.
So this Squawk Works, that's you guys?
That is our little team.
All right.
Of 2 people. There
you go.
I think I can think of like 3 other people that we've given stickers that are now running around with that on their cars.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
That's the dream. That's what makes Swamp Works, its own thing that people might know.
Totally. Oh my gosh.
Maybe it's just part of like a niche crowd.
Is this piece stock, or did you have to make this?
No, that's the factory trunk.
Oh, okay.
This right here is just some aluminum.
Got it.
And then shape. So the reason for the shape of this spoiler is that when we built this was prior to the swap.
Right.
We were racing in FP class at autocross.
Okay.
And the rules say that the spoiler is allowed to be 10 inches off the body, measured in any direction.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately for us, our trunk isn't flat. So what we ended up just doing was we cut this. It was initially flat, and then we just took a 10-inch rod and kind of traced it out, so that no matter where you measure here, it's always exactly 10 inches.
Hey, it's within the rules.
That is maximizing.
So you made it as big as possible.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And for the people that wonder whether or not this works at autocross speeds, it does. There's a noticeable difference when you drive this car with or without the
I was gonna ask. So has anybody else ever done this swap, or are you kind of the pioneer on this?
So for this series engine, there are 4 other cars I know of running a Ferrari F136. There is in Italy, there is a 350Z which runs the 4.7 liter.
4.6. What would that come out of?
It's the one that you got out of the Gran Turismo.
Okay.
Later model Gran Turismos, they bumped it up from 4.2 to 4.7. It's just a board.
Got it.
I don't know if it's stroked also, but same engine.
Got it.
So they're running the 4.7, and it's I think it's like Bada Drift, something, a drift school out in Italy. Then in South Africa, a random ass video, I found a I think it's an E40 M3.
Okay.
That is running also a 4.7. What were the others?
But as far as a Boxster, you think you're the...
Boxster? No, this is the first one. Oh yeah, the other two. There was, in 2019, a Mustang at SEMA called the Corrupted Mustang that ran one of these, and they also put the Ferrari California intake on it.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
to make it more, you know, it's
more
a
Ferrari.
they put the intake on. Those intakes are expensive as hell, which is why I don't have them. I'm not gonna gain
I mean, to me,
anything
this
from
looks
it.
pretty nice, though.
It does.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, most people think it's an LS when they walk up to it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. That doesn't say Chevy on it.
But all you see is this right here.
Yeah.
I've had people at shows like the guy go like, oh yeah, let's swap the world. He walks up, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
And the last car would be, what's his name? It's the GT 458.
Oh,
The
Ryan
4586.
Turk's car?
Ryan Turk's, yeah. And that's running the F136 directly out of a Ferrari 458.
That was the 458 motor.
Yeah, but they're all the F136 engine.
Got it. Got it.
So, of known cars, this would be number 5.
Oh my gosh.
I tried contacting all of them. Like, when it came to doing this engine swap, and this is something you don't ever see when it comes to, you know, YouTube showing people doing engine swaps, roadkill, all that stuff. It's like 90% of the time is spent just researching what goes together.
Right.
Unless
Is
you're
this
doing
gonna
like an
work?
LS swap, then you know it's usually all been done so many times before that.
Usually you can just buy a kit and plug it in, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the beauties about those engines.
Yeah, totally.
But for this, like, literally, it's just months and months of research, contacting people, sending emails, trying to get any information we could. What ECU can manage this engine, because you can't run it on, you know, your typical like mega squirts that LSs run off, because you have dual overhead cams with variable valve timing.
Oh my gosh.
So,
yeah.
That's where the Haltech comes in. You can do that.
Right.
But it was just research for months on end, gathering parts, kind of figuring out. And until it started, never actually knew if it would work. And yeah, the other guys that have done these engines, none of them contacted me back.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Check your email.
But I mean, wait, so how did these work together, the trans and the engine? Did they bolt right up?
So trans and the engine, that's where this right here, KEP. Oh, I love that sound, don't you?
Beautiful.
KEP is Kennedy Engineered Products. They're up north of LA, like near Bakersfield.
Okay.
We contacted several different shops that build transmission adapters, and they were the only ones who were even willing to try it. And they were very clear, and they said they did not know if they would be able to make it work, because no one's ever done this.
I mean,
now,
yeah, they're two.
For future reference, if you are swapping an F136 into a Porsche Boxster, call Kennedy Engineered Products, because they're the only guys that know how to do it now.
So is there...
We had to take the engine and the transmission up to them, drop it off, and it took them about 2.5 months, I think, to get the kit working, but made it.
So it's just like an adapter plate, basically?
Yeah, so what you have in there now, so weird thing about the Ferrari engine, the tone wheel that the crank sensor runs off of is on the back of the flywheel rather than being on the crank itself.
Okay.
So you couldn't get rid of the factory flywheel and then build an adapter flywheel. You had to keep the factory one for that sensor to work, and then on top of that you had to add basically, I could probably, I'll send it to you on Instagram, but I'll show you a picture of what it looks like. It's basically another flywheel that bolts on top of the flywheel.
Okay, got it.
Comes out and then has the surface for the actual clutch that it's now using.
Got it. To
fit on. It's a really funky looking deal. You got like this mushroom shaped thing coming out of the
But hey, flywheel. If it works, you know.
Yeah. and besides the crank sensor, the starter also runs off of the Ferrari's side.
Okay, got it.
So that's why that needed to be maintained on there. So it's essentially got two flywheels. Cool thing about the flywheel in this, it's only 7-inch diameter.
So does it rev pretty quick?
Yeah, so if you're at idle, foot down, to red line is about a quarter of a second.
Oh.
How fast it runs, ready?
Crap.
So people talk about the LFA being legendarily fast at revving.
Right.
This does it in half that time.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's impressive.
That's pretty killer.
Also really makes you need to get used to like, you know, when you're doing your downshifts, trying to rev match, because
right.
you'll over rev the engine really fast.
Right. Or the revs could drop and then it's, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes up and down real fast, and that's because
gosh.
the flywheel is such a small diameter.
So what about the colors that you used?
Well,
The pink and the teal and the gold.
One night of drinking and a bunch of paint sitting around.
Some rattle cans later?
Yeah, it was just, you know, it was just one of those nights. This was at the time when we were still researching things, and like we'd already cut everything apart.
Right.
Just waiting on parts, mainly waiting on that transmission adapter to be finished. I just kind of sit down in the garage, having a few beers.
There you go.
Like, you know, we should do something. Man.
Yeah.
We just grabbed some of the paint that was laying around and
Totally.
went to town. This was actually the paint that we used on the wheels.
On the wheels?
Blue, yeah.
Oh yeah. Are these what wheels are these?
So I didn't know what they were when I bought them, but and internet, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but from what I've found talking to my friends who are into wheels,
Yeah.
they think they're work equipped and Halo.
I mean, they look pretty sweet. I can tell you that.
They look sweet. Yeah, they're really lightweight and they're really fucking wide. So that's why I got them, and the guy who was selling them wasn't asking too much. So
Perfect.
happened to work. The thing that sucks with wheels for Porsche is that Porsche are like the only guys who use a 5x130 bolt pattern.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, it's the bolt pattern for Porsche. And basically what that means is that anytime you find a wheel that is a 5x130 bolt pattern, it is now a Porsche wheel.
Yeah.
Which means you pay the Porsche
And there
price.
you pay the Porsche price, yeah.
It's fucking annoying.
I love the Ferrari badge too.
That is a genuine Ferrari badge.
It
I
looks like
ordered
it.
this off of eBay and then went to Ferrari of San Diego with this, and I asked, is this real?
Yeah.
And they went to the back, got one of the techs, they looked at it, and they said, yes, it's real.
Do you know what it came off of?
We took they had a LaFerrari in at the time. We
Oh my
held
gosh.
it up to the LaFerrari badge in the back.
Yep, that's it. Oh my gosh.
Genuine article.
Any idea what it came off of?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
I was at eBay.
Could have been the
eBay,
Crash
I think
LaFerrari.
It was like $300 or something.
That's so cool.
I will spend $300 for something that stupid. I find it funny.
Oh my gosh.
Well, most of the money I spend is on things I find funny.
I mean, this is like I don't know if you're okay with this language, but to me this seems like the perfect troll car.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's just loud and silly and fun. I love it.
The interesting thing is that in person, no one says anything mean to me about the car.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because I'm usually bigger than they are and they're scared. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're not on a keyboard. But when you post this thing online, I've found two distinct groups. There are the Porsche people.
Yep.
They fucking hate it.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful creation. This thing is awesome.
Thank you.
If you guys are into this kind of video, hit the subscribe. We got more coming. See you next time.